OK, it's Wednesday, so it's time to take a look at what women have been saying about other women this week in our new feature, It's a Woman's World. First up, Cameron Diaz has told Cosmopolitan magazine that as a woman, admitting you don't want children is still taboo. She says, "I think women are afraid to say that they don't want children because they're going to get shunned. We don't need any more kids. We've got plenty of people on this planet already." Journalist Polly Vernon has called Cameron wise and said, "We need to stop making the voluntarily childless feel like they have a guilty secret." So do we agree with Cameron and Polly, Carol? Do you feel shunned?
Shunned. Well, no, I don't agree with her in that people should just stop having children. There are enough people on the planet already. I mean, you know, that would be a disaster for the human race. It would, you know, would die out. But I do agree with her on the women without children thing, and simply because I don't have children. I am 49, and I have spent a lot of my time justifying that decision, usually to people with children, and I find it a little bit offensive, actually, and so rude, because I would never go up to a woman with children and say, "Oh no, why did you have them?" And yet they come up to me all the time. "Jane, you get it. Oh, you're not getting children. Oh, what a shame." Why? What gives them the right to say that? And it's almost as though the women with children are acting as though they're in the right, and they're treating us like weirdos. And actually, yeah, there was an article recently about saying that women who don't have children are treated with suspicion in the workplace because most women and men think that women who don't want children are somehow odd and weird and not quite right. And I find that, I mean, that's just insane, isn't it? I mean, surely not everyone can go around having children, otherwise we would have a terrible population problem. We have got a population problem, but I just get so bored with it.
I agree with you on one respect. You know, one of my sisters never wanted children ever, and never had that broody moment or anything, and always said, you know, "I'm too selfish to have children because I like my life," you know. And always felt she had to justify it. But at the same time, I mean, as much as childless women in the workplace get a lot of stick for that, so do women with children. We know how difficult it is in the workplace when you've got children. So I don't know. It's weird to say one's better than the other. I don't know what I mean, they're almost like trying to make me feel guilty for having them. You know what I mean? And also,
each to his own, isn't it, really?
Each to his own. And also there are women out there, you know, there are a lot of women I've spoken to who've gone, "Well, I never want, you know, I don't have to have children, and why did you have children?" Or women that have never, well, they're not in a relationship because you can't find a boyfriend. Or, you know, I feel like they're almost having a go at me.
Because you have
made
that decision. How about you, Jane?
Well, of course I haven't got any. I'm like Carol, but it is a difficult thing when you don't have children, because people think because you know you are a woman made to have children that you should. I've never really had that urge to have children, and I'm really glad. I feel blessed that I didn't, because I would have still had to be in touch with the partners that I've had in the past. God forbid! So,
yeah. If you had your children, you might still be anyway, you see, because they might have been, you know, the right partners.
I don't think so.
Still on the subject,
you know.
and still on the subject of children, no doubt you've seen the heartbreaking story of a couple who decided to have a child by in vitro fertilisation using their last viable embryo, which was stored at an NHS clinic. Sadly, due to a clerical error, the embryo was implanted into the wrong woman's body and aborted as soon as the mistake was discovered. The Daily Mail's Melanie Phillips reacted, saying, "Creating potential babies in this way only to dispose of them has undoubtedly helped erode respect for human life." She goes on to say, "The question is whether IVF should be funded by the taxpayer at all. After all, the NHS is a health service, not a happiness service." Agree with that?
Well, you know what, it is difficult, especially given what I've just said about I don't want children and it's just not my thing. But I've always been suspicious of IVF, and frankly, I don't think it should be a priority on the NHS. And I know that there's a hell of a lot of women out there who are going, "No, it's all right for you, you haven't got kids, you don't want them, you don't know what it's like." But, you know, I do know what the NHS is like, and I know that some people suffer in other ways. You know, life-saving drugs can't be given to people because of the expense, and yet IVF, as far as I know, is given out to people, well, depending on your postcode, I understand, you get 2 goes, and everybody knows that the likelihood of it working is you know, the chances are not good, and it is expensive. So, you know, I don't think it is a priority, and I do think that everybody has become so obsessed with IVF, and it's become kind of normal, you know, rather than just accepting. A lot of women will not accept that maybe they weren't cut out to have children. And I do understand that there are women out there with medical problems, proper medical problems, that maybe they've had cancer treatment and it's rendered them infertile. And so, yeah, fair enough. But, you know, women who just leave it too late and think, oh, now I'm going to have a baby, I'm 45, and they get it on the NHS, I don't agree with it. I object to it.
I don't agree with you. I think I think that's a minority who all of a sudden get to an age and think, oh, I'll try IVF because I've left it too late. I think a lot of women that end up having IVF have gone through every other scenario.
For the NHS,
and I think
it's
made
it
it
3 years of trying.
3 years
with no success.
Really trying. And also, you know, IVF sounds easy. It's a really not an easy process to go through, physically or emotionally. I've had friends that have gone through it, and it's a really, I mean, these are people that desperately, desperately want children, and I'm not having a go at you, and I appreciate the fact you've never had that instinct, but if I couldn't have had children, something I've wanted all my life, as much as I slag them off constantly. Bless them. But, you know, I would have gone through anything, and I think, you know, IVF is something that's a miracle that's happened, that people can do this for us. And, you know, they're allowed it twice on the NHS. Why not? Because otherwise then, like we've said before, does that mean then only rich people can have it?
But what about the mistakes that are being made? You know, it was only a matter of time, wasn't it, before big mistakes were being made. And, you know, I also know a lot of women who have been told that they are, you know, basically infertile, gone through loads of cycles of IVF, it hasn't worked, and suddenly they've fallen pregnant naturally. So they weren't infertile in the first place. And I do think that a lot of the time IVF is a massive, massive business. And I think it does prey on really, really vulnerable, desperate women. And that's why...
But I guess the counter-argument to that might be that, you know, some of the drugs that were taken during IVF corrected something in the woman's body. Do you know what I mean? Even if the implantation itself wasn't successful, some kind of imbalance was corrected, and that's why the
hormones they were injecting or whatever have corrected.
It must be desperate, absolutely, because like Carol and I have never had that, you know, that absolute longing for a baby. But I know many people who have, and to take that away from them, I think would be just heartless, and I don't think you could do that. And also, like you said, Coleen, I agree with you on the fact that you can't make it into a rich-poor thing, you know, you just can't do that.
Well, finally, on a slightly lighter note, fashion guru Mary Portas, who we mentioned earlier, also revealed this week that she doesn't always get her clothes right at her age. She says, every woman has a mutton moment. Every woman puts something on sooner or later and thinks, am I too old for this? Have we had one of those mutton moments ever, Jane?
I've had one this weekend. This weekend I got all my summer clothes out because the sun was peeking through, you know. We had enough blue in the sky, didn't we, to make a sailor suit. So I got all my stuff, and I looked horrendous, and I thought, what are you doing? Put it away, go and burn it. So
was it a mutton thing, though? Was it an age thing?
It was age. I thought, I can't wear that. And yet last year I looked fine, didn't it? It's just this year I look like mutton.
It's not an age thing, it's a weight thing.
All right, thank you.
That's what friends are for, Janie.
So cool.
That's what you say.
I do it all the time. I do actually look in the mirror and think, you shouldn't be wearing that, and I wear it anyway.
Good girl.
And I don't care. But
who says you shouldn't be wearing it? Well, if you feel good in it and you look good in it, then why
I don't know,
shouldn't
something
you wear
in your
it?
head just goes. Something in your head just goes. And you do think, I do wear it, and I do ignore that. But I have got, I've got my eye on certain things that I think, no, cannot wear too old. And, don't take this the wrong way, Coleen, Nolan, my mate Tubbsy, but the one thing that I really do want to buy and wear, but I won't because I think I might look like mutton dressed up as lamb, is wet look leggings, and you wear them.
I wore them to my book launch, and can I just say it's my husband's favourite outfit? And
I bet it is.
And for him, I will wear them again.
Yes, but he does get you dressed up in a nurse's outfit as well.
Exactly. That's on next week's show.
I think it's totally on how you think you look. I think it's regardless of age. You know, if I put on a little mini dress or something and I feel like I'm relatively thin or slender and I look fine with it, that's fine. I think as you age, you feel 1 or 2 pounds too far.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
today,
a big
then?
no-no.
Leather mini skirt.
Thank you.
You've got a mini dress on today.
Well, this one looks all right though, but there are certain ones. There are certain ones, and you think, no.
Yes. I would wear a leather mini skirt or leather hot pants. space.
Just watch this space, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, time for